Welcome to Patty's Place, a place where we're going to talk about grief, dementia, and caregiving. I named this podcast in honor of my mom, Pat, who passed away from dementia about 2.5 years ago. I'm your host, Lisa, and I just want this to be a place where people know that they're not alone and they can come here when they're feeling very overwhelmed. So grab your cup of tea, your cup of coffee, or if you're having a really bad day, a glass of wine, and come join us. Today, I'm really excited about our guest. It is Kelly Willenborg. She is a brain health gerontologist and facilitator of drug-free interventions. She founded My Memory Works, which is WORX, and she offers, this is so cool, healing headsets as also a lot of other things. So welcome, Kelly. I'm very excited that you're here.
Thank you. And I want to say cheers. I noticed you had your logo on your coffee cup.
Yes.
And I wanted to follow suit with you as the host. So cheers to you. And I appreciate the opportunity to spread the word on this ministry.
Yes. So how did you come up with this idea? Healing headsets. How did this come about?
Well, I originally was in music promotions. Okay. So I promoted Woodstock bands, Canned Heat, Jefferson Airplane, did some reunion tour. There was about an 18-city reunion tour that I thought that was going to, the peak of getting out of small town music promotion and getting into more of a national level. And I did a show actually in Waukegan, and I realized that what I truly was interested in is that moment when the music started. As a promoter, your job is done.
Mm-hmm.
And I could see what the first notes of those familiar songs were doing to every different walk of life, and how it was bringing the street cleaner and the white collar executive all on the same playing field. And the stress was melting. And I thought, I really want to use music to help people, help people who are suffering. And that's when I switched gears from music promotions into music healing.
Okay.
I started something called the Healing Jukebox.
Okay.
First, and that was in 2010. And I was bringing music percussion around to senior living and memory care locations throughout Central Illinois, drum circles and structured rhythmic activities. And so that's really, and I did that for 6 years.
Okay.
And that was called the Healing Jukebox. That's how I came up with the name and sort of morphed into the Healing Headset program.
Okay. So it is similar to music therapy in many ways.
It is. So I am not a music therapist.
Mm-hmm.
That is the music therapists are college educated. They have taken clinicals, and I always want to make sure they are using, certainly in parts of what they do, personalized music. But this is really a way for people to have access. Unfortunately, there are not enough music therapists to meet the number of people with dementia, nor do we have budgets or the backing of funding from health insurance. And so many of these Medicare, we don't have enough funding or enough people. So we need other players. That's where someone like myself would come in, or a drum circle facilitator would come in. This cause is way bigger than just a few people, right? Mm-hmm. You've made a whole podcast based on dementia, and it's a growing problem. So I feel like we have to work as a team that delivers different levels of music intervention. So it is being used in a therapeutic way, but I just wanted to make that distinction between what a music therapist does as a clinical side.
And my mom, through hospice, was able to have a music therapist come and visit her. And I knew when I heard that they offered this, I knew that was right up her alley because she loved music. She gave me my love of music. And the first time that the music therapist came, the next day, the caregivers could not wait to come up to me and tell me what a difference it made. My mom went downstairs to a party. She was all involved where they couldn't get her to leave her room. And then I was there a few times. And the one time she couldn't remember my name, didn't know who I was, but boy, she knew the words to My Girl. She started singing along with it.
It's really incredible the way that music moves through these wide pathways on both the right and left side of the brain, circumventing areas of plaque and tangles, maybe if somebody's had a stroke, other areas that may be damaged for whatever reason that they are up against a neuro disorder. And because of the way music travels on that widespread path, that gives us the opportunity to connect to our musical memories. It's a gift. It really is.
It really is. And I knew so I would play the music that I knew she loved too. You know, even at the end, I was playing all her favorite songs and stuff. I was like, I knew she could hear it. And I know you mentioned on your website, you say music is powerful. What does that mean to you? Anyway, what does that mean for people?
Powerful to me is and I'll use an extreme example, but not uncommon, is when someone is predominantly nonverbal, and when they hear the right music and suddenly a word comes out or a sentence comes out, or they went from being completely unconnected, no self-expression, right? And then hearing that right song and suddenly the spark in their eyes, them looking up and sharing, maybe it's a smile, maybe it's a glimmer. And that's why the movie, and I was involved in this movie a little bit, called Alive Inside. They chose that as the movie title because it really describes what can happen when we use the right music.
So explain to me exactly, what are the healing headsets for someone who's not familiar with this?
Okay. So the headset, and I'm going to hold on here.
Sure.
The headset itself is it's over the ear fashion. So for anybody in the younger crowd might think of Beats headsets, right?
Okay.
And the over the ear headset has inside of it a music player. The music player, these are wireless. And what we were using in the past, I have been through so many generations of this. I started out with CD players, and a large cart and lots of CDs. Moved to an iPod. Those still are cumbersome. Wires, losing them, etc. This has been very efficient because the wireless and the fact that the player is built inside, it's one device instead of two. And we load their favorite songs on a small SD. It's called a micro SD card. It's the size of a fingernail, your pinky nail, and we put that into the headset. It only has 3 buttons, and they are oversized. So the headset is actually manufactured so that it's senior friendly.
Okay, good to know. Yes.
That in and of itself is hard to find, right?
It is. Just with my dad and his iPhone, yes.
The finger dexterity, our ability to use our fingers and for whatever the task might be, this has there's been a lot of thought put into the design of the headset. And I mentioned just momentarily the movie Alive Inside. The headset was actually designed by the film director, Michael Risotto Bennett from Alive Inside. He and I have collaborated multiple times over the years. I was involved in helping promote the movie when it first came out. And then I worked with Michael for about a year and a half. And then really now I'm taking the headsets that he designed and distributing them. So I just want to make sure I give Michael a shout out because of his work with the film was how this became something that was crafted specifically for its user.
Which I just think is it's such an awesome thing for somebody with dementia, to put those songs in there for them to hear. Because for my mom, like she was way back. And so that's what she appreciated. I would always say I'm glad I listened to her stories because I was able to follow her and jump right into her stories. But music plays such a role, in all of that. So, well, first of all, they're free. Is that correct?
Yes. So the target is reaching people in their homes.
Okay.
That's our primary target. So if you're a care partner and you are caring for somebody with dementia, it does its best work if they're maybe moderate to advanced stages.
Okay.
So if somebody has mild MCI, mild cognitive impairment, if they're in the early stages, those are times to try to document what are the songs.
Oh, yeah, good point.
The most to you, because they could become one of your most valuable tools as the disease progresses. So I would encourage people to get their playlist or favorite song list as a homework project if they have been diagnosed with MCI. You were asking about, you got to get me back on track here.
That's okay. Yeah. So I see on your website, there's a button they could click to request it, and they really are free.
So I do have people say, yes, I just wanted to call to see if you were legitimate. Is this a scam?
Right. Yeah.
Because our seniors are constantly targeted for things like that.
Yeah.
And it's a legitimate project.
Okay.
What I have written for lots of grants. I've tried to partner with so many different programs. And what happened as somebody that is trying to advocate this movement is that I got very frustrated with not finding the funding. And I felt that it was too important as a tool for not just the person with dementia, but also the care partner to have active respite or to gain. And we can talk a little bit more about gaining cooperation. So it was important to me that all income levels had accessibility to the headsets. So it's being funded through private donations.
Okay.
And I want to give a shout out to J&J Ventures, J&J Gaming. They were one of our biggest sponsors.
Okay. And so can this help, especially like with sundowning and bathing possibly? Because those are big ones for people with dementia. The agitation ramps up with showers, bathing, and in sundowning. All of a sudden they seem to be okay. And then boom, they're just agitated.
Exactly. I just had a discussion with a woman yesterday about when to put the headset on. We were talking specifically about bathing and starting the music about 15 minutes prior to that task, whatever it might be. Maybe maybe it's wound care or whatever it might be that you're noticing a pattern of pushback from them. Get the music going about 15 minutes prior to, so that those neurochemicals can fire up and they are really in a better state of mind. So you're really teeing yourself up for someone that is there because of the neurochemical boost. They're going to naturally be a little more open-minded. It's not a guarantee,
right?
But most of the times we need all the help that we can get, right?
Exactly.
So the more we can get into it, and really maybe we're having them stand up and dance a little bit to it, because we know that the biggest obstacle of the day is about to take place. So maybe we even put on Splish Splash, taking a bath as one of the songs on, at whatever it takes to start getting in the mood, but using that music about 15 minutes prior to.
Yeah, and sometimes, I mean, there are days you have to use every single, every trick in the book that you have, and then other days, one, and it's fine. You just, moment to moment, it changes. So anything that you can give the caregiver, it can help to add to that. So you said it makes it easy to use because of the buttons. So what if they have a hard time locating the power button? If it's the person with the dementia?
Yes, I do recommend having the care partner hit the on button for them.
Okay.
They can hit the on button and then place it, first checking for volume to see if it's suitable.
Okay.
That's no matter what. And then that way it's already turned on and the person doesn't have to worry about the dexterity issues. We just have the care partner put it on for them.
That makes sense, because sometimes they forget. They don't know what the buttons are and stuff for all types of things, phones, remotes, and everything. So what if they have trouble adapting, keeping them over their ears? Any suggestions?
I'm going to jump back just momentarily. Sure. There are, depending on the level of the cognitive changes, I have had a few clients that have used a textured sticker, something fuzzy or something that makes it stand out. So the power button stands out.
Oh, okay, good idea.
Others. And that has worked for a few people. It really does depend on the individual and where they're at. You were asking about those. So one of the questions that people commonly ask me is, what about hearing aids? Mm-hmm. You were talking about ears. And that is at least half of the folks that have hearing aids have no problems with it. I usually suggest if they can get a hold of maybe a grandkid's headset or a neighbor's headset, just to try it as an experiment.
Okay.
With what it feels like to have something over your ears. If they are ultra sensitive to putting a hat on or things of that nature, it might be good to test what does a headset feel like on them.
Okay.
There have been times where this is really rare. I've sent out over 2,000.
Okay.
And I think I've had maybe 3 where somebody said it's not working. So then I donated a small wireless speaker that they could put the micro SD card in, and the speaker played the music for the person. So we were still able to accommodate them.
Okay. And so how many songs can somebody load?
So, I don't know about you, but I like to get bang for the buck, even though it's free.
Right.
But I like to get the most out of an opportunity. So those that do their homework and put some real thought into what songs, was there a school song or a wedding song or there's a lot of ways we can give people ways to ask the right questions, ask siblings. Mm-hmm. The more homework they do on the input means that we're going to have a few more artists and we can make the playlist longer. If somebody only gives us a very few, sometimes somebody gives us 4 artists to choose from, you're going to end up with maybe 25 or 30.
Oh,
but if you have lots of artists, you might have 70.
Oh, that's a lot. Which is good.
An average, I like an average is probably somewhere around that 40 number.
Okay, but that is a lot. That's a lot of good music that can get them in a lot of different areas to think of. It's not just like 5 songs on repeat.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that's really cool. Now, I noticed when I was on your website, you also have some other activities too. So you have like a memory cafe, because you're in Effingham, Illinois, correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yes. So started a memory cafe called Club Maverick for our local community as a place for stimulation, connection, a safe place with the right type of dementia-friendly activities. And that's, I think, in its second year. And like many memory cafes, it is housed and ran by our local library. So the Effingham Public Library is in charge of that, and we have it once a month, the first Tuesday of the month at 10:30 a.m. So, well, I hope we are continuing to try to reach more people to grow. It's difficult because the brain is an organ just like anything else in our body. So getting people to realize the value of peer support,
Mm-hmm.
no matter what the ailment is. We're really working on destigmatizing and trying to let people know that this is a safe place that you could not only help your loved one, but also maybe get tips and guidance from other care partners while you're at the activity. So, thank you for asking about it.
Yeah, that's very important because my dad and I made friends with other family members of the other residents where my mom was, and that was so powerful because they still know exactly how you felt and different tricks and tips that they used and stuff. And then it was nice to know that if my dad and I weren't there or something, they would be able to tell us, oh no, my mom did this or that, and we could say that about their loved ones as well. And then I know you were talking earlier, so you're starting music bingo. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm really excited about being able to offer this. It's a program that can be done online.
Okay.
And we have some in-person groups that are starting. I'm trying to talk to some centers in Chicago about being part of our pilot. So the online program is starting next week on Wednesday, June 3rd. There is a group called the Dementia Action Alliance that folks, if they go to the website, it's daanow.org.
Okay.
And they can register to be part of a music bingo game. And we send them their own unique bingo card, and they print it off. Maybe they get some help from a family member. They print it off, and then they join in on a one-click link for a Zoom. So we're on a meeting, and they're in with other folks that have dementia. And we welcome care partners or those with dementia. This is a safe place. You don't have to be great at naming that tune, because we give people a chance, but we also announce what the song is. And we just have a lot of fun with this new program. We'd love to have some listeners join us next week.
I think that would be really fun to do it, because it's like it's still stimulating them and trying to remember the name of the song. And I mean, I've done music bingo just in the community, just for regular, and I like it sometimes better than regular bingo. But I think for a person with dementia, with the caregiver, that could be an activity that you can do with them, and hopefully that calms them or puts them in a nice space for that evening, at least for it.
It does. I ran the program in-person event in Florida, and my very first game, somebody with dementia, advanced dementia that was nonverbal, came, and she ended up winning the game, the first game I've ever hosted.
Oh, good.
And it really kind of left me in tears, because the joy that she left with enjoying music from her past, and then being the champion of our little event, you could see what difference it made in the rest of her day. The care partner reached out to us a few days later and thanked us and wanted to make sure we had more events coming up. So it also challenges people by, when you look at the card, you're using visual spatial skills to locate the song on the bingo card. So it really can help all different levels.
And I know in my mom's memory care facility, they played bingo a lot. But they never played music bingo, which I never thought of. Like they should. That's something that could.
I want to give a shout out to AMI Entertainment. They're one of the big jukebox companies globally, and I was able to partner with them and to work on licensing music and creating this program. This is really state of the art. There's not anything else like it out there. So I know they have a Chicago office, and I just wanted to make sure that that I gave a shout out to those that are helping make this possible.
And then I also saw, because you have a lot of cool stuff on your website, you have a program called Peace for Parkinson's. What's that?
So I live in a rural area in Illinois, and our unfortunately, those, Parkinson's is the fastest growing neuro disorder on the globe right now. And we did not have support for our those with Parkinson's. They were driving to local communities to try to get some sort of activities or support group. So I set up a Parkinson's office to be able to help people with rock steady boxing, setting up support groups monthly, and really just trying to build a community, and then also scholarships for nurses and therapists to become educated on how to work and provide care specific to those with Parkinson's. So it is a big part of another big part of what I do and where my passion lies.
Well, and a lot of times they overlap too.
They absolutely do. And so if somebody is in the advanced, and thank you, whether you knew it or not, for leading me down the path, but if somebody is in more towards the latter stages of Parkinson's and have cognitive changes are common, the headset, contact me. We'll set you up with a free headset. Parkinson's would also be included in this. The memory cafes, yes. I've set up 70 different memory cafes, have received kits with a headset for every person in their memory cafe. And all across the nation.
So where can they find a memory cafe?
So a Memory Cafe Alliance has a directory.
Okay.
That they can go to the Memory Cafe Alliance, look for the directory, put in their local area, find where that cafe is, and I can work with the cafe leaders to set up headsets for the members of that cafe if we haven't already. I've got several in the Chicago area that have taken advantage of this opportunity. But I wanted to mention that because I said it's mostly working with people that are at home, which a lot of the folks at the memory cafes are living at home. But this is another way for us to be, the whole goal is to get it in the hands of more people.
Yes.
If I work with a memory care or a senior living home, I do ask for, there is a donation. We're looking for a little fee because they actually have budgets to work with.
Oh, exactly. Yeah.
No. So that is the difference.
Yeah. No, I mean, I agree. I think that because when I actually found you on Instagram, I was scrolling through and I was like, this is such a cool idea. Like, I wish I would have had that for my mom. I don't know if she would have wore it for a long time, but I know she would have liked it, because she just always loved music, So I used to joke with her and tease her that she didn't know a lot of the big, bands you think of from the 60s, like Jefferson Airplane or that. And she would laugh and she'd tell me she liked Gary Lewis and the Playboys and all the girl groups from the Motown. Like, I still have her 60s 45s, And she did, I was like, are you sure you were alive in the 60s? She's like, that's what I liked. And then she loved Barry Manilow. That was her favorite.
Oh, Copacabana.
Yeah, she loved Barry, so she listened to all that and Barbra Streisand and with that, which is what I played. So, but it made such a difference for her, to listen to all that. And I think sometimes as caregivers, we forget about those little things that can help because you're so overwhelmed,
I recently had a gal say, when my husband isn't listening to it, sometimes I am. And it's helping me too. And I wanted it. So there are so many things happening. There's such a heavy load for care partners. And that's what's driving this as a gift to them. The testimonials that come back every week just bring me to my knees sometimes as to the difference that it's making. And we just hope that we can reach a few more people. Now, if someone stops using it for whatever reason, it becomes inactive, we do ask people if they would send it back to our office or bring it back to the memory cafe maybe that they received it from. And we clean it and rehome it, set it up with a new playlist. So we want to build some sustainability in the program so we can keep growing.
Oh, well, that's good to know too. That's nice as well too. And I know why do you think a caregiver should take the time to share the music with their loved one? What do you think that helps?
I think that we need to remember how important it is to be very specific with them, that our certain songs are going to unlock their past and give them the ability to express them. That when we take away the ability to express ourselves through words, the song, where does all of that go when we cannot express ourselves? You can imagine how agitated you would be if you couldn't really get out the words or had to ask something that you asked before. You're asking again, you're confused. They're what they are managing internally, and then they don't have the ability to express that frustration in healthy ways sometimes. This can not only help the person with dementia if we choose the right songs again, but that will be a direct effect on the care partner if they can create some calm and joy in that person's world for a little bit, right? A lot of people, I mean, sometimes it's a matter of limiting how much they listen, because some people love it so much they have it on for hours. They want to get in the car and go to the doctor's office with it, be able to pass the time in the lobby of the doctor's office waiting for 40 minutes. There's lots of ways that can be used. I'm thinking the dentist might be a good place.
Yeah.
I haven't heard anyone say that.
Because as the disease progresses and when they are in different situations that are new, different environments, it's very overwhelming and overstimulating for them, and they get agitated very easily. So I could see where that would help.
So what happens and not to get too scientific, but what happens is it is a way, our default network is that ticker tape of thought that's going and creating that extra anxiety. It is a shortcut to hacking the default network. I myself have some ADD, so if I'm going to work on a chore that's hard for me to keep my attention, laundry might be one of them. In order for me to stay on task, I've got my headset on because it is keeping my default network. I get focus and attention because now I am no longer getting the ticker tape of thought. So it's hacking our brains, the neuroscience of our brains, so that we can leave that chaos that's happening. And that's why people use it to work out. It's not just the beats per minute, but it's also the attention and focus that it can booster.
See, music is just amazing. That's why I love it so much with it. So now, if somebody is interested in this, they can go to your website, correct? And it's My Memory Work. It's WORX. It's .org. mymemorywork.org, and they can, all the information's there. They can click on requesting the healing headset, and they can get that going, and they can also look up the memory cafes and all of that to help with it for this. Like I said, I just think it's awesome. I just think it's such a cool way to help people with dementia, because it's easy to get frustrated with them because it's such a overwhelming disease, and as the caregiver, I've heard many people that I've talked to that it's actually, I think, harder on the caregiver than it is for the person with dementia, depending on where you're at with things. And you just need to figure out something, little things. And I also think with the music too, it helps you be in that present moment with your loved one.
It does. We just recently started offering a companion connect, so that you can actually be listening to the same song as they are at the same time.
Okay.
And it is because if they're in the hospital and maybe they're sharing a room, or they're at adult day centers, right?
Yeah.
And there's other things happening in the room, then two people can have the headset on and they can enjoy it together. So there are lots of opportunities, but we just want to contribute to something that has been it's been a public health issue, and we need more players and funding and people that can help those that are facing it. So we're just trying to do a little small part. That's all. We're just wanting to do a small part, and music's actually doing the work.
Well, it is. And I just think like I said, I just think it's a great idea, and hopefully more people will try it, because you got to try everything when you have a loved one with dementia, even if it helps them for a few minutes, maybe the next day it'll help them even longer, but it also can bring out, for those few hours, it'll make them happier. It might bring out some more lucid moments, or you just don't know, but it's a good way.
For sure. Somebody said their loved one was shedding tears during a song, and she said, "Do you want me to turn it off?" And he said, "No." That was a release that person needed to have.
Yeah.
And they were enjoying it. And there's just, it's incredibly powerful. I'm grateful to be involved and thankful to have some of the donors that are keeping us going, and finally getting some momentum. I've really been trying to get this rolling for several years. So programs like yours that can help us get the word out, that is, I'm very grateful for that. Thank you.
Well, like I said, I found you on Instagram. So I was like, oh, this is just so cool, because like I said, my mom was always a music lover. She taught me to love music. And so I just think any kind of healing, that's like drug-free, that can help, we need to let people know that there's something so easily available to help, and it helps the caregiver too with it,
Mutually beneficial.
Yes. So people can go to your website, mymemorywork.org, and hopefully you'll get a lot of people that will check in for it. So thank you so much for joining us today.
You are welcome. Thanks for having me around today, and cheers to you.
Yes. So hopefully everyone will check out your website, and you've enjoyed this discussion here and learning more about how music is healing, for especially with people with dementia and Parkinson's or any neurocognitive disorder. So please leave us a review. Subscribe to our channel, and hopefully if you enjoyed your cup of tea, your cup of coffee, or that bad day and a glass of wine, and please join us for another episode of Patty's Place.